So, the obstruction of justice in this country and my rights to due process prevented against being able to issue a formal injunction against that May 12th executive order regarding alleged cybersecurity, which was about no such thing. And what did we see play out in the Middle East right around and after that time, right? And, we're in a strange situation because nobody from the Palestinian side and nobody from the Israeli side and none of the alleged interlocutors or supporters of either side seems to want to address directly that what has been happening is very high stakes, high level economic engineering that strategically traffics people and manipulates global monetary policy based on contrivances associated with covering up with serious crime. This is not about making room for market volatility or allowing for adjustments based upon market need. There's nothing about that at all. What there was a massive, massive, massive default because the crime was that significant. And rather than addressing the crime, somebody just found a way to broker a reconfiguration at Treasury. So apparently, that May 15th bond was actually announced on the 12th, which would have been the day that executive order was signed. And so it is actually proof that that executive order itself is not only illegal, but completely contemptible. And so when all of this dumped, did you just think you would take people that were dissidents again and liquidate our lives and use it to pay bribes to other countries to keep their mouths shut about how you're constantly torturing your own people and forcing people that could potentially be legitimate leadership to produce because they're capable and then allowing for it to be stolen and filtered through somebody so incompetent that they can't even keep track of the treasury issues themselves? Because if you could keep track of the Treasury issues, you'd have actual legitimate communication with Treasury and you'd do your job when it came to dealing with the federal budget. Instead of making these very high stake deals that end up only making sense if you follow the information about the investment fund activity. And you know whose stocks are working the accounts they stole from you every time they took one of your electronic accounts offline, right? Okay. I'm just acknowledging. I'm going to say this to you. If you're someone right now being strategically trafficked by someone alleging that they're qualified to be in political office at any level, and you end up being electronically tortured in the events associated with them trafficking you in order to engineer cover ups of their crimes, then I just want you to know I support you. It goes to speaking to state of mind, and it also goes to speaking to cognizance, which also could potentially speak to readiness. There is no way, shape, or form I am going to allow for a misrepresentation that anything about that May 12th executive order is in any way, shape, or form legitimate. As a matter of fact, it's absolutely slanderous, treasonous, and genocidal. Somebody claiming that they're in a position of any kind of authority in this country should already have filed an injunction and seek to have him removed from office pending a period of preparation for prosecution. And because, unfortunately, the vice president is also compromised and also needs to be removed from office, then a situation is going to have to be engaged upon addressing the next person in the lineup, which I understand would be the Speaker of the House, in order to assume the duties of the president, while the proceedings are meted out in consideration of the crimes associated with the president and the vice president. So far as I know, outside of all of the other crimes that have compounded in the course of the last 5 years that have been directly attributable to the secretary, the Speaker of the House, we are in a situation where that is the most likely and the most reasonable accommodation, at least temporarily. If you guys cannot maneuver and adjust to that, and as I anticipate, there is expected to be and will be a terrorist attack on American soil within the next 3 days, then what I understand is you have all agreed to cede your authority, and you deserve to be brought up to be prosecuted for the slander you visited upon the American people based upon how you reacted to the events on January 6th. Treasury, can you do something? Can you remove the Secretary of the Treasury if that office is going to allow for this abuse? This is completely unacceptable and completely unreasonable.